Welcome to Mission Majjhima, Ajahn.
Ajahn.
So tell us about Majjhima number 33, the Mahāgopālaka Sutta.
So the graded discourse on the cowherd is this great lengthy simile where the Buddha talks about the 11 qualities possessing which and not possessing which cowherd achieves growth in their herd of cows, and a bhikkhu achieves growth in the Dhamma Vinaya, the teaching and discipline. And we'll go into the 11 framed as the qualities helpful for a bhikkhu or a practitioner, because we're less interested in raising cows, you and I. So the first quality and simile is a bhikkhu or a practitioner knows form. And that means in this simile that they understand that all material form is composed of the four great elements, the dhatu. The second is that they know characteristics or are skilled in characteristics, which means they know lakkhana is the Pali. They understand that a fool is characterized by their actions and a wise person characterized by their actions. They pick out flies' eggs. I love this simile, where they do not tolerate an arisen sense of thought of sensuality, of ill will, or of cruelty, the three wrong intentions. They wipe them out of existence, dispel them. They dress the wounds. They know how to dress the wounds, which means they guard the sense doors, the eye, ear, etc., and do not grasp at the signs and characteristics of an attractive or unattractive sight, etc. They smoke out the sheds, and this is a brilliant one, which I'm sure we'll go into, where they teach the Dhamma as they have learned and memorized it. They know the ford, which means from time to time they go to elders of the Sangha and ask them different points of Dhamma, making clear what was unclear, etc. They know what it is to have drunk or no satisfaction, which means when the Dhamma is being taught, they listen with eager ears and delight in the Dhamma, which is beautiful. They know the path, which means they know the Noble Eightfold Path. They are skilled in pastures, which means they are skilled in the four frames of reverence, the four foundations of mindfulness, satipatthana. They do not milk dry, which means they know restraint in accepting the four requisites from laity who are offering food, clothing, lodging, medicinal requisites. And they show honor and respect the leaders of the Sangha, and in public and private maintain acts of loving kindness in body, speech, and mind. So it's a great list and worth kind of diving into various points of it, I think. So Ajahn, take us through your favorites. What would you have to say about this?
Yeah, I feel that it's a great sutta, and it is framed, as many of the suttas are, in terms of bhikkhus or monastics. But really, all of these characteristics do also apply to someone who's trying to live the teachings in a lay setting as well. The one which might stretch that is the second to last, about milking dry. So a monastic doesn't, they know the measure in terms of receiving the requisites. They don't make over asks of the people who are supporting them. But really, that's a good characteristic of any practitioner, to know, to not over ask the people around you. The Buddha said in the Gautama Sutta that the Dhamma is for one who is unburdensome, not one who is burdensome. And that applies to lay people as well. Just, you don't want to tax your relationships. But each one of these similes is great. I mean, just another one is knowing how to dress wounds, and that being looking after the senses, having sense restraint, basically comparing each one of the senses, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, as a wound. And these are, many, or the majority of them, are actually open. These are the holes in this skin bag, basically. And it is where our mind, in this elongated simile of asavas, that which the mind flows out through the eyes, through the ears, through the nose, through the tongue, through the body, and realizing that it's also how we take in things from the world in a certain sense, and realizing that, infection can occur in that way if we're not careful about the way we're looking, the way we're listening, the way we're smelling and tasting, that then infection and there can be growth of unwholesome things. And it's very true, especially on the level of mind. For yourself, are there any ones in this list which particularly stand out for you?
I mean, beginning with the elemental contemplation, just the power of the elements is highlighted in numerous places as a unexpected road to loving kindness and equipoise. In, say, the simile of the saw and some of the instructions to Rahula. And in the Satipatthana, the Buddha compares contemplation of the elements to actually slaughtering a cow, which is an extremely powerful image in ancient India. And so just the power of that being at the very beginning. I love the picking out the fly's eggs. You mentioned the wounds already, but the fly's eggs, these thoughts which initially seems harmless and small, but can hatch if left unattended to and become real patterns or action over time of these unwholesome and damaging kind of seeds of action. Smoking at the sheds is especially interesting because there are all these, this is fumigating a barn is something done to keep the mosquitoes out or the pests. And, when you don't teach Dhamma or speak about Dhamma, you don't realize all the small hidden misunderstandings or lack of understandings that you have until you try to actually express these teachings, and you realize all the things you weren't sure about and have to look into more deeply. And I just love that image of yes, this is how you find the pests or figure out those misunderstandings in there. And it harkens back to a sutta in the Anguttara Fives where the Buddha talks about the basis of liberation and how teaching Dhamma can be a source of joy and actually lead to liberation if held correctly. Knowing the forward is something, approaching elders, it's something we'll get into in the next sutta. And I think also just to note that knowing satisfaction and knowing what it is to have drunk, in the Kosambi Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 48, the Buddha talks about one's strength being listening, the ability to listen to Dhamma when it's taught and rejoice in Dhamma. And I just love that idea that that's our strength as practitioners. And to milk dry, just this thought that just because someone's offered something does not mean you should accept it all. And the Buddha said in another sutta that the duty of the recipient is to know moderation. So, I don't know any kind of especially esoteric points to draw out of this, except just to note how it's a great list. I really, really like it. So, Ajahn, what else would you bring up from this discourse?
Yeah, I appreciate that you highlighted the one of knowing what it is to have drunk, being associated with this idea of gaining joy in the Dhamma. Literally the phrase is, one gains inspiration in the Dhamma, one having listened, one gains inspiration in the Dhamma, inspiration in the meeting, and having gained that inspiration in the Dhamma in the meeting, one rejoices, one has this sense of pamoja, this sense of well-being. And the word here for to have drunk is pita, which is also related to piti, which is joy or this rapture. Rapture is that which kind of drinks in the Dhamma. And that's something which we're hoping to inculcate in everybody and ourselves, going over the Majjhima in such detail, really because we can find joy in it and it can inspire our practice. The one of knowing the forward, I think, is quite fascinating. It's got a really interesting list of people to approach. You approach someone who is well-learned, Bahusutta, someone who knows the tradition, Agatagama, one who knows the tradition in Thai. This is the kawat, the kind of ways that have come down, not just what is in the suttas, but the way the suttas in the teachings are understood on another level. One is a Dhammadara, one holds and is memorized the Dhamma. One's a Vinayadara, one who is holds and memorizes the Vinaya. And a Matika Dara, one who holds the different matrices or these different lists. So this is the Patimokkha rules for us monks. 5 precepts could be a Matika. The Abhidhamma are matrices, but basically the Buddha did talk about memorizing enumerated lists, and that forms almost a skeleton for oneself. Like you memorize the list of 11, and then you can, in our own life, in our practice, when we're sitting down to meditate, we can go through these different lists, these matrices, these matika, and evaluate our own practice. And Ajahn, what is the word of the week?
The word of the week is yatha bhutang, which means as things are, or as they have come to be. And the root is bu, which means to be.
Okay.